Report. Untitled Mail Group did not use until December 8, 2019. Thank you to everyone who worked so hard on the control situation simulation. I can't imagine how tedious it must have been to so delicately hide Monica's elevated permissions from her without disrupting our connections to the VM. Just to clarify, all other recordings labeled side stories as part of the control simulation, right? There's some details of the characters' lives here and there that differ a little bit from those in VM1. Trivia ones. It's a part of the butterfly effect from some of Monica's more fundamental changes, or is it a result of her just messing around with the other characters in VM1 as her own experiment or for fun? So we're keeping track, we have what, like 5 different universes in total, with 3 or 4 of them created and then destroyed by Monica, of course. It's funny because I keep wanting to speculate on which one is the real universe, but in reality they all are. As real as ours is anyway. Trying to say something? Character discrepancy. Number 7th. Having run the control simulation for a while, it's evident that a certain character is missing from any mention or appearance. This makes me speculate that Monica's meddling is less clumsy than we think, that she would have had to manufacture this character herself as a way of forcing interaction between her and the user. Could that be why the character has such limited and stunted personality traits, or am I reading too much into this? I'll open an issue to start tracking into info and observations of the anomaly of this character appearing. Is this supposed to be another character? Am I bothering you? No. Okay, just checking. It's hard to tell since you always said so into it when you were reading. It's me scared to interrupt. Well, some of my expectations of interrupted are not read here, mainly when I'm on myself that I don't like it. That makes sense. I guess if you're here in the first place, then you're more ready to socialize and it takes a little bit of pondering. It's not so bad to be social from others do the work, so it can be healthy to put myself in a social environment every now and then. It's difficult when I don't know anyone, or there are too many people, or everyone has been too silly for me to keep up with. Yuri glances across the room at Yuri and Natsuki. Yuri has her head cocked back and her mouth open, trying to catch pieces of a cookie that Natsuki is lobbing into the air. Pieces keep bouncing off her face and hitting the floor. Maybe you should say something. Honey, they just ran out of cookie. What a waste. They've really become good friends, haven't they? I'm happy. Sierra seems practically good at making that happen. The 2 of them are both on the energetic side, so I suppose it works out well. Yeah, come to think of it, you and I haven't had many chances to have one-on-one, have we? Though that may be partially my fault, since I'm supposed to be the one engaging club members. Not at all. I've probably formed a habit of drawing minimal attention to myself. Responsibility is equally on me, at least to display some openness to engage. What about during times like lunch? Do you meet up with friends? I just read. Oh. But I like it that way. It feels nice to be carried off again over after morning classes. You always read fantasy? Well, not always. I suppose it's all I've read recently, but only because I'm in the middle of the series. There's still 2 more books after this one. So those long books suit you well since you spend so much time reading. Well, fantasy may be my favorite, but after that, more or less discriminative genres, so we're doing with depth and maturity. Oh yeah? You like romance? Well, there are a lot of books that have elements of romance in them. Oh, come on, Yuri, you know what I mean. My uncle lowers her voice. What changed? Something changed? What changed? It's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I won't tell anyone if you do too. Maybe more when I was in middle school. I mean, I was really lonely and people were mean to me a lot. So I just kind of felt like movies that make me think about the past. Sorry, just got super curious. You know, we should totally pick out a romance novel to read. That would be so much fun. Absolutely not. Really? I thought it was just between us? Trying someone who has no shame like Natsuki. Ouch. Sorry. I swear I didn't mean that. Well, I guess it was my fault for pressing you. I'm like that for things in my past too, you know? Things I feel too embarrassed to really experience. There's something wrong with growing out of things. It happens to everyone. For instance, Natsuki's interest in manga reminds me quite a bit of how intense I used to be about my own interest. Makes me think that she'll likely grow out of it too. Hey, were you talking about me? No, we were just talking about how our interests have changed over the years. When did you guys go into manga, Natsuki? Like a couple years ago, I guess. I was already sort of into it before that, but I wasn't really going hard until then. Oh yeah? What was it that inspired you to get more into it? I don't know. I guess, let me think. Well, that's why I discovered a series that I really liked. Yeah, I was just like really fed up with a lot of things, and I got sucked into this one series that I really related to. just had an edgy phase where I just hated everyone around me and wanted to be by myself. Hey, kind of like Yuri. Monica? Sorry. It's completely wrong. So, it's still cool that you both really gone through your thing. They're almost like opposites, but it sounds like they helped you a lot through hard times. You know it. Wow, what the heck? Is that book even bigger than the last one you were reading? It's definitely slightly longer, but not by very much. How high do you think you would go if you stuck the whole series? She stomachs by holding her hand high above her head, lifting up an imaginary stack. She get one of those mangas that's like $50 long, so I can say I've read more than you. Did I have the money for that? Please, that would hard to count when your books only have a few words per page. I know, I was just joking. I could never actually read books like yours, it's too boring for me. Yuri shoots a glare at Natsuki. It's not boring. Chill, except for me, not for you. I have my own opinion, I just think it's too convoluted. Siri, are those from the floor? Gross. Also, wash your hands before touching any of the books. Your hands aren't dirty. Just do it. Those are there, even if you can't see them. Fine. Sorry, tries up the door and Natsuki follows. Yuri, you look a little upset. What nerve did she have to call my hobby boring? Well, she did correct herself. Hardly. She was so condescending. I don't mind if she thinks it's not for her. Why do you understand that it's not for everyone? She knows well how much these mean to me. So if I just leaving me alone instead of needlessly telling me that things are great about me. I'm sorry, Yuri. You may be right. This won't be the last time people have strong feelings about what they like and don't like. Especially in a literature club, so I should figure out how to mediate discussions to keep them positive and constructive. For the record, I've always been impressed by the level of creativity in your books, and also your ability to get through them so quickly. Thank you. Okay, well, this is something that I'll have to think about and revisit. I'm sure I can help Natsuki find some common ground with you. Common ground isn't necessary, I just wish to be respected. That then. Either way, I'll do my best. I'm skeptical when it comes to Natsuki. I trust you, Monica, but I'm skeptical. Skeptical is such a weird word to say. Okay, everyone, we have a special club meeting today. As you know, the club is a place where we get to share things that we're really passionate about. That also means we should be mindful of how we respond to each other's feelings. We have a chance to turn our difference into positive energy for each other. I should be a little dramatic about this. It's important to me. No, sorry, I just feel like I'm being accused or something. No, I'm not accusing anyone or anything. I'm sorry if I came off that way. Our conversation yesterday made me reflect on the power of language, and I thought it would be a good topic for the literature club. Don't you think? I'm sure we're going to have differences in opinion a lot, so I need to make sure we're prepared to keep a positive energy on the club. If you say so. Sure. The cool thing about language is that it gives us a lot of different ways to express the same idea or emotion. We have a lot of control over how we want the other person to feel when they're receiving a thought. Especially for poetry and just casual conversation, basically anything. For example, Siri, what's your favorite food? I have them organized by categories. Should I start with snacks or do you want to eat full meals? Should I include breakfast? Oh, jeez. Okay, how about your favorite fruit? It's easy. Cherries! Really? I always thought cherries tasted nasty. What? Cherries are delicious! Well, that's a pretty strong reaction. I just don't understand how somebody could think cherries are nasty. How does it make you feel? I don't know, sad? Defensive maybe? Yeah, I got defensive. See? The reason you had such a strong reaction wasn't just because I don't like cherries. Because you felt like your opinion was under attack. That's weird, right? Something like taste is completely subjective. When I say something like I think cherries taste nasty, because you reject the language. I'm challenging Sierra's reality that cherries are delicious from my own, just that cherries are nasty. Wait, hold on. How is that objective? You just said it was on your own opinion. It has to do with the way your brains interpret the words. I'm talking about the reality of the cherries and your feelings about them. Like Siri, she won for a second, and I didn't tell you that I think cherries are nasty. Good! So what if instead of that, I said like, I've tried cherries and they're not for me. It's the kind of flavor I enjoy. Well, that's fine, as long as you don't call them nasty. Nasty's a nasty word. Yes, the cherries was kind of a weird example, but I think you guessed the point across. This time around, instead of talking about the cherries, I just talked about my feelings and Siri didn't get offensive. So instead of clashing with each other, we received an invitation to talk about our differences. But you don't need to take notes, I'm not going to quiz you or something. I know that. I was just poor Yuri. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. You can do whatever you like. But does anyone have any thoughts so far? Yeah, I just feel like I shouldn't have to put all my language through a filter just to protect someone's feelings. Well, you don't have to. The choice is yours on how you want to come across to other people. More just seeing it as a tool to help turn your differences into a positive experience rather than an argument. Right, Yuri? Whatever you say, cherry hater. Oh, come on. Seriously, like cherries. I was just saying that to help demonstrate. The heck? I've been duped! I'm sorry, Yuri. Wait after you later. How about a cherry still there? You're welcome to dupe me anytime, my beloved president. Buying your people's loyalty? How horrible. Well, like you would turn down a free sundae, Yuri. You were certainly a fan of those cupcakes I brought in the other week. That was... I was reading and not keeping track of them. Well, that's enough. We're getting off topic. So now that we have the gist of it, how about we try it with something more relevant to the club? Like manga, right? Sure to have a particular discussion about differences in opinion. Yuri, do you want to start? Well, I'd rather not, no. How come? Well, because I don't see anything productive doing that. Just want to start a fight. That'd be fine, that's why I'm here to moderate. Let's just have a calm and rational discussion. Yeah, give me a little more credit. I'm not a child, you don't have to coddle my feelings. I always think it's more respectable to just speak your mind. Respectable? Your expression changes of that word. It's fun to go recall as being respectable with the crux of the matter for Yuri. Well, the point of the exercise isn't exactly like. It's fine. I have nothing against anyone personally. You're entitled to enjoy whatever it is you like. I just prefer more depth and nuance in my reading material. Look for stories that are imaginative and sophisticated beyond the surface level. Oh, well, that's just a misunderstanding then. I thought you were going to say that manga's for children or something. I don't hear enough of that. There's plenty of deep manga. I'm not clueless about manga. I've read my own fair share when I was younger. What? Are you serious? You never told me. Because I'm past that point in my life, and I really prefer not to revisit it. I prefer more mature things now. Excuse me? Okay, hold on. Can I jump in here? Let's try to keep things subjective. So if you imply that mangas are mature, then aren't you implying that someone is immature for being into it? Maybe it's immature to judge people for having different tastes than you. Suki, nobody's immature. I read Natsuki's manga and Yuri's fantasy. I love them both in their own way. Okay. It's great that you like it, but I still find it boring. Boring is subjective. Okay, it bores me, that's subjective. But, the thing about this is ridiculous. See why I didn't want to participate in this? I knew it was just going to make people upset. I'm not upset. Like I said, I don't care what other people think. But I always get the impression that you secretly look down upon me, so I'm glad my suspicions were confirmed. It's not true at all, you're making assumptions. You can't blame me for getting defensive when nobody ever has the least bit of respect for the things that I'm into. The only thing I look down upon is when people make fun of me for just being myself and trying to mind my own business. What? You looked in a mirror? Tell me again about respect after following all of my interests and mature. I can't. Please stop. Please? Don't mean the things you're saying right now. Just be friends. I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, it did. So please don't invite yourself to try and solve other people's problems next time, okay? You're just bruising words send the club room to a choked silence as she gathers her things. She leaves. Holy crap. Never heard her sound like that before. She must be so pissed. Well, you weren't very nice either, so... I was just saying. How did this happen? It's my fault. Yuri wasn't wrong. I shouldn't have tried to moderate a conflict when I know how bad I am at dealing with conflicts. It was a really stupid thing for me to do. Somebody's fault, and it wasn't stupid. Everyone in the club is a nice person. Nobody would have expected this. I guess we're sensitive about the things we really love. Honestly, she kind of brought it upon herself. Like I said, I don't care if you're not into manga, but if you actually look down on other people for it, it's kind of the point I was trying to make in the first place. It's not about sugarcoating things, it's about just recognizing and understanding our differences. Okay, but here's the thing about that. Yuri actually looks down on me. It has nothing to do with her word choice or anything like that. So I see what you were trying to do, but I really think the problem here is her. I just like the way we talk to each other, right? I mean, Yuri isn't like that. It's a lot sweeter than you're giving her credit for. I'm sure she'll be reflecting on this. I actually think everyone should. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out. Wow, I'm just like saying that instinctively. Just setting myself up to cause more problems. So it wasn't your fault, Monica. You don't have to beat yourself up for it. If you ask me, it's good that the truth finally came out. Because I can just move on now. But, it's fine, I promise. Just get our mind off this, okay? In fact, it's a good opportunity to read some manga without having to worry about feeding Yuri's superiority complex. Don't be mean. I'll talk or read manga or whatever you want, but don't be mean to my friends, okay? Sorry. I'm just bitter. Everything will be okay. I mean, I don't have the answers, but I at least know that we're all good people and don't want to hurt each other. So it'll be a learning experiment. Monica says that, but her uneasiness is given away by how much she has to force the reassuring tone in her voice. This was bound to happen eventually, and Natsuki and Yuri have always engaged with each other at least out of anyone. This is the reason. As Yuri and Natsuki proceed to distract themselves with manga, Monica sighs to herself, unable to shake her worries thoughts. With the club, I really have to just come to terms with the fact that some members will be incompatible with each other. Monica desperately doesn't want to admit that, and she knows Yuri doesn't either. But for once, the solution doesn't seem to be in sight. New day arrives. Sayori arrives at the club room earlier than usual, that is not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still, so she just sits down at the desk and pulls out a sheet of paper for him to just jot down her thoughts. Sayori has made a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings into paper whenever possible, as it tends to serve as her best inspiration for poetry. My heart feels vacant because the ship sailed away. Yo! Ah! Natsuki! Natsuki pokes her head out from behind the closet door. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. It would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. Thought you want me listening in on your poetry thing. Yeah, thanks for realizing that. Did I let you finish that up then? Oh no, it wasn't. I mean, just do it whenever it's convenient. I'm not interrupting. Where's Monica, by the way? She's out in the hallway. Huh? Why? Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. Because Yuri's too nervous to come into the club room by herself, so... Oh. She's this Yuri to let things bother her for that long? She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope with when you get a bad thought in your head. Maybe you can distract yourself for a little while, but as soon as it's just you and your thoughts again, it comes back. I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we all just ignore it and move on. I don't want to be bothered by this. It's so stupid. But being to me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel really guilty and I hate that too. It's good to have feelings. It's not weak. Let's figure this out together. Fine. Because you're good at this stuff. Try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that will help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was happy the way things were before we had to have that conversation today. What other conversation made you upset? Was Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe. I doubt it though. My friends and other people make fun of manga all the time, but I just brush it off and ignore them. Something about it really got to me this time. I hate that I'm letting that happen. It's because it came from Yuri? No, why would that matter? I mean, well, maybe. I just hate that she thinks she's so much better than me. Because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide that they don't like the manga or whatever. Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. No one deserves a chance. Yeah, exactly. Did you give Yuri's book a chance? Ha! After this, obviously not. Like before this. I wouldn't have got bored if trying to play along. If you actually keep an open mind, then it's not hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated. You see, but you know, I like Yuri's books. Yeah, but you like manga more, right? Sayori shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. I mean, the manga, it's really honest and fun and easy to just let go with. And fantasy has a lot to interpret and cover. It's really rewarding to have some good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing is that both the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So I love them both. I think there's room for both of them to be in the same club together. I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. How do you get along with everyone so well? I always get into fights with people. Like first it was Monica, and I was new to the club, right? And then it was you, and now it's Yuri. And I'm always like, oh, that person's being such a jerk. If they just realized that, then we could at least get along. Nobody else has this problem. Just keep running away from the reality that everyone is just a jerk to me because nobody likes me. I don't know why, and I don't know what to do about it. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Natsuki, Sayori puts a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved as much as everyone else. Everyone has different ways they like to communicate, you know? Sometimes that makes it harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we get lucky when we meet friends who are really good at the same kinds of communication. And it feels like you magically connect with them. But other times, even if both people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other or to get the communication wrong. Something that Yuri struggles a lot with too. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of reflection and self-awareness and vulnerability. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I always have to be the strongest. What do you mean? Tell me about that part of you. Well, it sounds stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me. Like my friends and I guess my dad. When I don't get good grades or even stupid things like if my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do? Cry about it? I let myself get upset and it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So things always have to be everyone else's fault. It feels like if something goes wrong and there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault, then I just get really angry and I find ways to blame everything else instead. You see yourself as better than Yuri? If I said that, then I would just sound really full of myself. No? Our thoughts and our feelings are two different things. But if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand them if we want to learn more about themselves. It's part of vulnerability, you know? Something that we have feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. So my feelings just want to tell me that I am so much better than her. She's just a judgmental know-it-all, stuck in her edgy phase, and then I'm just way above that garbage. But I'm terrible for feelings that way. Not terrible. You're not your feelings. But you're not your feelings. Say that to yourself, out loud. Fine. I am not my feelings. The way that I like to picture it is that those feelings are like your roommate. You live in the same house and you gotta see each other every day. And if you can ignore each other most of the time, you're gonna run to each other every now and then. It's gonna make you feel like poop. So the other option is to get to know each other. You can communicate and learn from each other. Maybe even help each other change for the better. Does it help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with. Called depression. Oh, gosh. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. I am not my feelings. I want to be a good person like you. Aw, you little sweetheart. We're all good people. You and Yuri and Monica. I think Yuri will eventually learn that about you. Secure me silent, feeling a little overwhelmed. Despite Yuri's kind of reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to feel as though it's flowing from a wound inside her. Was it a result of her vulnerability? No, it wasn't as though she was inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as though she began to rediscover an old wound, one that cannot simply be bandaged and left alone any longer. Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Oh. Please don't yell at me. I'm not gonna yell at you. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. It wasn't fair for me to put everyone on the spot like that. This time I won't just try to jump in and solve everyone's problems. This is a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the one mad at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri goes up recalling the details of the argument. Have a normal conversation without saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on, that's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a second, then manages to nod. Monica takes a seat next to her on the staircase. Having a lot of negative thought patterns and you can't get away from them. What kinds of negative thoughts patterns? Everyone hates me, especially Natsuki. Aw, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Oh, because Monica thinks back to the time that she herself found herself in an altercation with Natsuki, and how a display of maturity from Monica was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. She knows she's really not a bad person. In fact, I think she can be really thoughtful and considerate. Just, it's the way it works is that she wants to receive some degree of kindness first before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh, but that means the burden is on me. I don't know how to say things that make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, I just... Yuri shakes her head at herself and touches on her hair. It's okay, Yuri, you don't need to beat yourself up. I think anyone would like you if they had the chance to get to know you. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true, so I'm not talkative anymore in the first place. So everyone used to think I was weird and talk about me like that. I don't know what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said she found it more respectable when people speak their mind. So I did, and she hated me anyway. I was enough to confirm my fears. But, Miss Yuri, I like you. Miss Yuri and I like you, and we've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I mean. That's not what I meant, really. I just wondering if you had an opinion of her. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me. I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person. So for someone to just treat me like I'm inferior despite my taste, that's just the worst kind of insult coming from someone like her. It makes me think bad things about her. Everyone else seems to like her, so the only explanation is that it's me who's doing something wrong again. My feelings about her are wrong. I'm wrong to get upset over something so childish and consequential. Oh, Yuri, feelings are never wrong. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know? They're just a state of being that we don't always have control over. That doesn't mean they have to control us. I feel like that's something I learned around when I first started the club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things, or we can, you know, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. I can never be mad at you for just feeling a certain way. It's about how you handle them. I think working through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You guys sound so easy. You're so mature. So good with people. I feel like such a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri. I'm far from perfect. These are learned skills. They didn't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get this far. It's not good enough. I want to be able to communicate it to her. Communicate what? How I feel? How makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me? And how it reminds me of me? Because I know what it's like to feel misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone else is just as impossible as we're just people. We're fragile and unstable. I'm just tired of that getting in the way. I can't stand it when the pieces are stuff like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the pieces are disturbed, right? Because literature should be happy for everyone. Monica looks at you in adoration. I feel like Sayori must be rubbing it off on me, because I really want to hug you now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, I mean, well, if you want to, then I wouldn't really mind, so... Monica pulls you into a short embrace. You're so gentle, and I love when you communicate your feelings. I feel like I get to see that side of you. I'm sure Natsuki will too. I'm going to write her a letter. Oh, a letter? What a great idea! I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure. I always let my feelings get the best of me. I get to say all the important things and I say things I don't mean. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. It's such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardened with determination. People don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do for you and Sayori. Personally, just isn't suited for that. I wouldn't want it to be. Something I've learned is that friendships don't always just magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself making friends with someone like Sayori. We're opposite in a lot of ways. I'm friends with her because she put so much effort into understanding us so that we can get along. I think it was the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience. I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I have to be somebody that I'm not. If there's a type of person or a magical formula I have to follow in order to be someone like me. And that's just like me to think that. I'm always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendship happens when you think about the other person. When you offer time and effort to understand them and respect them. Trust that they also want to be a good person. That's what I learned through my observation in the literature club. Observations? Monica's caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's so unusual to hear her someone talking about the club like this. Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about me. Sayori too. It makes me happy because I learned a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea I meant that much to you. Like I never thought much of it, but in the past weeks, Yuri always seemed to be especially attentive when it came to the problems and concerns of others. Always wanted to listen and learn more about her friends in the club. Yeah, it's true. So Yuri and Monica are naturally more friendly than other people, can more easily work through situations of conflict. That doesn't make them better people. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses and the capacity to improve. The first step towards improving oneself is reflection and self-awareness. Something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for, but that Monica can recognize as an incredible trait. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. Don't think we're gonna end like that, okay. A very shy girl with long pretty hair is wandering the bustling lunchtime hallways, her fists pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the literature club president's classroom, she stands at the door, glancing around her before peering inside. Monica is sitting and chatting with a group of unknown friends, and suspected this was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monica glances towards the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight. Before she can regain composure, decided for sure to leave, the classroom door gently opens. Yuri, what is surprised to see you during lunch? Yuri squeaks a response. Please help me. What? Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Okay. Like, thank goodness. But there's some kind of emergency. Monica briefly glances over her shoulder at her other friends. You want some help? We can go find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad taking you away from your friends. It's totally fine, I promise. We're not really doing anything. One sec. Monica tries back into her classroom and says something like that about to her friends, then grabs a pen. After asking for a return to Yuri. Okay, let's find something somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and follows Monica as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh? Me? Oh, yes. Oh gosh, sorry, I was just caught off guard. I'm doing well today, just tired. I never seem to get enough sleep during the week. How come? I don't know, I think I'm just easily distracted. Very stuck into things and start neglecting the time. Me too. I do that too. Hey, this classroom's empty. Let's go in here. With appearing inside, Monica opens the classroom door and the two of them enter. Here's a moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monica pulls two chairs up to the same desk and obeys as Monica beckons her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You nervous? I don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Here, shakes her head. It's my chance to do something good. I need to take initiative. She must be really determined. You know how hard it is to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. She pushes through her anxiety and grabs a handful of blank paper from her notebook. And she picks up a pen. You're left-handed. That's neat. Oh, she's left-handed. Whoa. Yeah. Now I don't have to worry about bumping your arm. Monica playfully rubs her shoulders to become mysterious. Sorry, I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we start by listening to different things you want to say to her? Yuri thinks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. Aw, it's okay. How about some of the things you said to me yesterday? But, never mind, I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment longer, her attention not times. Then she rests the word reflection. This is about my reflection of our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but have been able to separately be friends. That's Yuri and Monica. That's me! Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks. I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. Same goes for Natsuki too. We started off pretty hostile to each other because I was so worried about getting what I wanted. She just wanted to be respected more than anything else. So I stopped making it all about me, and she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kind of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same things for her that I like to receive. I like when people respond positively to the things I talk about and just brush me off. I like when my feelings are taken seriously. I like when you and Yuri trust that I want to be a good person even when I'm not doing a good job. Let's write those things down. Okay. Yuri writes some things down. I think the most important thing to remember here is that Natsuki's feeling vulnerable, so we should make sure that the letter puts her first. Start when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to just tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that they know you're ready to respect them, listen to them, and admit the things that you feel do better. And finally, you ask what you would like in return. How does that sound for the structure? We need 3 paragraphs, 1 for each of those points. I like that. My thoughts were so disorganized I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. I'm so amazing with these things. Oh, stop. done so much more than I have, you know? You spent so much time reflecting and being open-minded. The hardest thing for anyone to do. All I'm doing is helping you put it on a piece of paper. So I think you're there, Mizuno. Monica gives Yuri's hand a quick squeeze. When she lets go, she's caught by surprise when Yuri curls her fingers to Monica's hand in place. For a while, they stood like that in silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday, you told me something that I'm thinking about a lot. What was that? I'm thinking about how feelings aren't right or wrong, and that they're just a state of being we need to come up to terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always just how they decide to be. It's also made up of their past experiences and their insecurities. I think that helps me see other people as actual people rather than as seemingly sad characters who are out to get me somehow. Is that how you felt about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best and everyone wants to be happy. Monica peers over Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, she replaces it in post with pressure covering it with her arm. To be able to read it to help out, you know? It's okay. My thoughts are a lot more organized now to being able to talk to you about it. Instead of actually putting it on paper, I realize I would prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughs, helping to herself with her expression. I'm kind of glad to hear that, actually. Someone keep finding ways to butt into this whole thing. I've done enough damage on it. It's also been so wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart, but Yuri smiles. I will always be terrible at these things. You're just so incomprehensible to me. I never get the hang of being one. But listening to you so much has really helped me make sense of some things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monica gives Yuri a gentle smile. I can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy geeks and all that was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. Still can tell with you. Sorry. No, I love it. Please never change. As you wish. Yuri glances at the clock. Almost out of time. Will you be able to finish? Before the end of the day, probably. I don't want to come to the club the same day that Miss Yuri reads it. Too shy. You can give it to her instead if you like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course, I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales and the two stand up. As much as you want is ready. Monica nods. Good luck. I'm here to help if you need me. Yuri returns a nod and the two depart. Mail. OMG. Okay, who's responsible for creating a Twitter account for Monica? I think it's hilarious, but for God's sake, don't tell Paula. We'll get 404 in a microsecond. Are you just relaying her tweets manually, or did you code some kind of pass-through layer to automate it? Based on the contents of the tweets, I'm screaming for help. I assume they're coming from the control simulation. Does Monica actually have a Twitter? That's alright. Pretty 404. 404. Finally got the answer I was looking for. Which is in here. 404. Unable to open unknown error. Push dragon later. What? What? I found one. I gotta give it. Well, do I need to write this down? Maybe not. 404.